From chaos to clarity. In 2014, I moved to London from Leeuwarden, the Netherlands, the city where I grew up. I went from a city with 100,000 people to a city with 7 million people live. Things were harder than I expected, especially when it came to finding a place to live. After doing research and talking to my new coworkers, I learned that it was almost impossible to find an apartment in a short period without getting ripped off. Instead, I decided to rent a room, which was a lot easier for 3 months, and I decided to explore different areas in London that were within an hour commute by public transport to my work. That was my plan, and everything went well at first. After 2 months, I found a small and affordable one bedroom apartment in Earlsfield in southwest London. I had planned everything. I cancelled the lease of the room I rented and signed the lease for the new apartment. My parents and brother even drove from the Holland to help out. And because I didn't have much stuff, we could just use their car to move my things from the old place to the new, which were only 10 minutes apart. In my mind, this would be the deal. I would just pack up my stuff, get the key to the new place, hand the keys back to the old landlord, and move into the new place, watch Netflix, and relax. Also, I expected to do everything on the same day. Well, things didn't go as planned after all. My new landlady changed her mind last minute and decided not to rent out her apartment. She told me this a day before the day I planned the move. All of a sudden, I had no place to live and had an SUV full of my things. That night, in my parents' hotel room, I panicked big time. I don't know what to do. I have no place. My stuff is in a van. I brought you guys over from Holland, and now I'm sitting here like an idiot. I continued blaming myself for the rest of the day and evening. You are probably thinking, really, yes, looking back on this, I can't help but think that I may have acted a little bit too dramatic. Well, let's just call it like it was. I was over dramatic, and not just a little. That's exactly why I panicked out. This example, because it shows how stupid I was in my thinking. I spent so much time in my head that I had lost sight of the situation. I wasn't thinking clearly, and for what some first world problem common. The next day, I woke up, and with the encouragements of my parents and brother, I decided to stop feeling sorry for myself and start finding a solution instead. I said to myself, think straight. I knew I had to replace the mess with clarity. I wanted to get straight to the point. I pictured this on the left a mush of useless thoughts, worry, stress, suffering, confusion, not knowing what to do. On the right, one straight thought that has a single useful purpose. I wanted to start using my mind as a tool. In the case of my London story, I needed to look for a solution fast. It turned out that way easy. Once I started thinking straight, I booked an Airbnb until I found a new place. In the end, we stayed in an Airbnb for a week. The landlady changed her mind again and decided to rent the apartment to me anyway. So, all my stressing, worrying, and thinking were especially useless. How often does that happen? We are always so quick to judge and draw conclusions based on our assumptions. We are all human beings. We make mistakes, we change our minds, and we assume things that are not true all the time. That's normal. That's not normal. What's not normal is to let your mind go out of control. And after many other useless thinking episodes, I decided to change. I didn't have one big epiphany or super dramatic moment that forced me to change. Life is not a Hollywood drama. People that I know only change after a culmination of problems. At some point, we stand up and say, enough. And you know what? A lot of people never change at all. But that shouldn't be our concern. After years of chaos in my mind, I just had enough of mental suffering. I can't make it any prettier than that. You don't need an all is lost moment. Those type of moments almost never happen. About 2 years ago, I started changing my thoughts and I have learned to replace the chaos in my mind with clarity. Now there's peace. In the rest of this book, I will share with you exactly how I did it. But first, I want to share a brief history of thinking.